America and Arkansas have been dealing for the last month with the federal government shutdown. Other factors influencing the economy include hiring, taxes, and health care reform. Joining me to talk business is our distinguished business roundtable. We've got Randy Zook, CEO of the Arkansas State Chamber of Commerce, Steve Cousins, VP with Lion Oil Company, also chairman of the Associated Industries of Arkansas, and Mike Callan, CEO of Arkansas Oklahoma Gas, chairman of the Arkansas State Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having
me. I got
us.
all the titles right for the most part.
Yes, well, sir.
I should get an A+ for that at least. So, Randy, I want to start with you. Let's talk about this federal government shutdown. It has been at the top of everybody's mind for the last several weeks. As a matter of fact, we even did some Talk Business Hendricks College polling, showed only 1% didn't have an opinion about the federal government shutdown and who to blame. Tell me how you've seen the federal shutdown impact your members, just maybe from a little bit more of a general perspective.
Roby, I think the most obvious impact is just the sense of frustration that's been driven by the inability of our political leadership in Washington to get some smart things done. People are sitting on go in this economy. We've got lots of built-up demand. We've got capacity that's underutilized. We've got jobs that are unfilled. We've got all this potential economic activity just waiting for decent fiscal policy out of the federal government. And if and when that happens, I'm optimistic that this economy is going to get back to something like the growth rate that we want in the economy to create the jobs that we want and need to get ourselves back to a healthier situation.
Steve, you have a different perspective. Federal government shutdown, how's it impacted Lion Oil?
Well, strangely, it hasn't impacted us very much at all. It's business as usual. I know I've got a daughter that works for the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality. It's affected her life quite a bit.
Yeah.
But now I do have a lot of other friends in the business community that have been impacted. I know another company in our area needs an air permit pretty bad, and it's held up by the fact that the federal workers that work on that are furloughed. So it's a big problem for a lot of people. For other people, it's no problem.
But regulatory, though, that's definitely an area where we've seen some, as representing the Associated Industries of Arkansas, there's got to be some ripple effect there. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. There are a number of companies that need government action, and there's no government to act.
How about you, Mike?
Yeah, we're all seeing friends and neighbors who are furloughed, creating additional hardships on their families. What we're seeing the most of is just the added uncertainty that it's bringing to the economy, especially in the Fort Smith area. We have a very heavy industrial presence in Fort Smith, and it is just one other thing that the plant owners and plant managers are looking at to decide, are we going to ramp back up and try to get this economy moving again?
You know, and I know you guys talk to a lot of the government leaders a lot. You talk to a lot of your congressional officials, Senate officials, day in, day out, not to mention at the state level, but particularly at the federal level. And I talk to them too, and it seems like no matter how much talking to there is, it doesn't seem like there's much breakthrough. But I still talk to a lot of business CEOs who tell me they're fairly optimistic that Washington can eventually get this right. Why is there still that optimism there? You guys are CEOs of your organizations.
We've seen this movie before. At the 11th hour, we're going to get a deal.
Well, we're past the 11th hour. Well, I think we're past midnight on some of these deals.
Well, we're close, but I just think we're going to come together and come up with something that works, even though it will likely be a short-term fix. It'll be a kick the can down the road.
Do you guys remain optimistic that a solution that we don't continue every 6 months or so, just like you say, kicking this can down the road?
Well, I think it's a pattern that is going to repeat again in the future, but the political issues of the day are the big problem at first, and then now, after a few weeks of this, the big problem is that things are starting to fall apart for a lot of people, and they just have to fix it. They don't really have an option.
Is it something the uncertainty, is it something you can build into your projections, your business model? Does it just kind of keep you on hold from making decisions about something that you want to let go with?
From our standpoint, it's that you put things on hold. You stay in that holding pattern until you can see a little bit of certainty or predictability out there. It's very tough to make an investment, especially a substantial investment, if you don't know what the outcome is and you don't know what the return on that is going to be.
Let's talk about what's going on in hiring. I'm going to stay with you, Mike. Let's talk about what you're seeing. We're kind of into the first of the fourth quarter here. typically a time of the year where we do see a little bit of ramp up for people to anticipate, and certainly in certain industries we see some more ramp up than others. But what are you seeing in terms of the hiring environment out there right now? A, is there qualified workforce out there for the needs that you think exist? And B, do you see employers ready to start pulling the trigger, putting people on the payrolls?
Well, we feel like we're pretty well blessed with a good workforce in Fort Smith. When we've been hit very hard, those workers have been hit very hard with the loss of some of our larger industries in that area. So we believe, for the most part, from a manufacturing perspective, that the workforce is there, the workforce is qualified. What we're seeing as a company is that the quality of the individuals out there for us to hire, especially at the professional level, is just top notch. It is certainly a buyer's market when you're hiring, and there's a very, very good workforce pool out there for our positions.
So the supply is high, but the demand is low?
It is for us right now. We're not adding people. We're down from 263 employees 15 years ago to 208, and that's all been done by utilizing technology. But yeah, I think it is a buyer's market out there for the workforce.
Interesting. All right, Steve, what about you? El Dorado, the city of gold. I mean, come on.
Well, El Dorado is a little unique, and Union County is for the state of Arkansas. We have a lot of process technology industries, petroleum processing, chemical plant type operations. The 5 of those that are located right in the El Dorado area have added about 900 jobs in the last 5 years, going on to the prospective jobs in the next couple of years. And these are STEM jobs, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. They're better paying than the traditional older jobs. And the counties come together. Our local community college now has an associate's degree in process technology to train people to run and operate those facilities.
So the workforce is there for those 900?
Workforce is there, and we're training. All these plants have the same demographics of a lot of retiring baby boomers, and so we're working hard to train the next generation.
Is it people moving into the El Dorado or Union County community, or are you finding it in the existing population that's down there? Do you have a sense of that?
It's some of both, but I think it's mostly existing population.
All right, Randy, what do you see on the hiring horizon out there?
Well, I get sort of a mixed bag. It depends on where you are. As Mike says, they've got plenty of supply of good, competent, readily available folks. In other areas, we're short. We don't have the skills. We simply don't have the body count in some places. So it's a mixed bag. Northwest, Washington and Benton counties, it's just, pedal to the metal. Every job, every business is growing. They're all hiring. People are moving into the area. In other parts of the state, we see population continuing to decline because there just aren't any jobs in the area. And in lots of other places, as Steve mentioned, this structural thing around the retirement of the present workforce is really starting to bite. We're seeing plants where 20-30% of the employees are reaching retirement age, and those plants are having some tough times in some places finding the folks they need. So it's a mixed bag.
The baby boom is booming, basically.
The baby boom is in full swing.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break here with our Business Roundtable. We're going to come back with a little bit more. I'm with Randy Zook, Steve Cousins, Mike Callan. I'm Roby Brock. This is Talk Business. We're back right after this.
Farm Bureau helps protect its members in more ways than you might think. They've always been the voice of agriculture in Arkansas, working on behalf of folks like me when nobody else would. And Farm Bureau stands for the values that Arkansas families care about. They've protected my right to farm and make a living, which helps everybody who likes food on the table. You know what they say, Arkansas counts on agriculture, and agriculture counts on Farm Bureau.
All right, we're back with our Business Roundtable. I'm joined by Randy Zook. I'm joined by Steve Cousins and Mike Callan, all from different areas of the state with some great perspectives. We're talking a little bit before the break, Randy, about the workforce needs that are out there and the fact that there are people wanting to hire in key areas of the state. But what are we doing in terms of education, in terms of workforce education, that you think we're doing right, and what do we need to be doing better in terms of reaching that that workforce that's out there that hadn't been tapped into?
Well, the good news is we are doing some very smart things across the state. One of the major things on a statewide initiative is the fact that we've adopted the Common Core standards for the K-12 system. This is in the process of being fully implemented. We've got about another year or so to go until it's all the way through the 12th grade. But this is the major initiative that's necessary to make sure we prepare kids for either for careers or for college in our K-12 system.
And Steve, you got the El Dorado Promise down in your neck of the woods, and that's been wildly successful.
It has. It's not enough to leave education up to the government. I think you've got to have a private-public partnership. Murphy Oil, maybe a competitor, but they struck out in a big way and committed, I believe, $50 million to fund everybody's kids to college, including mine. And it's increased the enrollment rates at the school. It's increased college participation. It's a great program. And the Murphy Foundation, the Education Foundation, there also has endowed PhD college chairs that are privately paid for that work with the school system. That's a real model of how you can improve education.
Murphy lets you pick up half the tab, let Line Oil pick up half the tab on that, share some naming rights maybe. Mike, you guys, you indicated earlier, have had a lot of layoffs, particularly in the industrial sector, the manufacturing sector in Fort Smith. Opportunity for workforce re-education.
Yes, I think there's some good opportunities there. University of Arkansas at Fort Smith has done a really good job of providing some technical training as well as college level training as a 4-year school. Many of our technical people at the company I work for were trained at UAFS, and they are able to come in and master the technology that we're now using in our business at such a level that you're able to do more with less manpower.
And that's the model, though. I mean, it has to be this constant retooling of the workforce. Things change. You have to have a community college, a 2-year college, a 4-year college that has the programming to be able to do that.
You absolutely have to have that. I mean, the technical aspect of our business is light years ahead of where it was 10 years ago. And every day some new bit of technology comes into play in what we do to try to operate the system in a safe and secure manner.
Gives you a chance to hire people that are smarter than you. So, all right, we'll start with Mike. We'll work our way back around for our last question here. Healthcare reform, huge topic of conversation. We've got the exchange online now, but a lot of turbulence and turmoil in the healthcare market right now. How is healthcare reform impacting your business? Is it affecting it at all in your?
Well, we've got really good health care benefits at Arkansas Oklahoma Gas. It is one of the more expensive benefits that we provide to the employees. We'll spend anywhere from $9,000 to $11,000 per employee per year on health care. We have seen some increase in costs. I don't know if we can say that the Affordable Care Act is driving that or if it is just the marketplace at work. But what we are seeing is that people are really appreciative of the health care benefits that they have because health care has risen so much in the public eye with the Affordable Care Act and the controversy around it.
Opportunities for more health care options, Steve, or is this problematic for business?
I don't believe it's a huge problem for companies like ours or like Mike's that have always provided full medical coverage for all their employees. I think it's a huge problem for small business. I think the uncertainty is the biggest problem there. We haven't seen a big impact now. Now, I will say over the last 5 to 10 years, as medical premiums have increased, we have passed more of that on to our employees. So that's been a burden that we've certainly shared most of it as a corporation, but our employees have shared it too.
All right, Randy, you're blessed with a big, diverse, small business, medium-sized, big business. How's the Affordable Care Act impacting your members?
It is so company specific, it's just amazing. I mean, it's very difficult to generalize about this. As Steve mentioned, smaller businesses are more upset about it, especially those that have not been able to or have not chosen to provide or have not had to provide medical insurance to employees in the past. Now that they are being required to, it makes people look really hard at their whole business model, and people are making rational, smart, business-based decisions And it's the range of options that they've got is very broad, and some are doing some of everything. So it's almost impossible to generalize. I know I'm dodging the question there, but that's...
No, it's okay. I mean, I think
that's
it's a
basically-
difficult
I think
question for you to
that's the
answer,
answer,
because
yeah.
I've heard from a variety of different size businesses too that it really does depend on the type of business. I heard a healthcare executive tell me that he was actually very excited about what's going on in the markets right now, because it is creating more creativity in the market than
I
he's ever
think that-
seen
that's-
at any time. You agree with that?
That's an absolutely valid and accurate point. I think that it's making people think about it.
All right, gentlemen, we're at the end of our conversation, our business roundtable. I appreciate you so much, Mike Callan, Steve Cousins, Randy Zook.
Thank you for
Hope
having
you
us.
guys will come back.
Thank you,
You bet.
Roby.
Thank you.
All right. A word from our sponsors, and we will be back to wrap up right after this. I'm Roby Brock. This is Talk Business.